Good morning, students. In the chapter number 3, part 3, we will discuss about the gametogenesis. It is a biological process that begins with the puberty in boys and girls, and it means formation of gametes in the primary reproductive organs, or you can say gonads. As far as gametogenesis in human is concerned, it is further subdivided in two parts. The first is spermatogenesis and second is oogenesis. Spermatogenesis is the formation of sperms in testes. Basically, this process is carried out in the male, while on the other hand you can see the second one is oogenesis. Oogenesis means formation of ova in ovary. The ovary is the female reproductive organ which is considered in the primary reproductive organ also. Spermatogenesis, the place is testis, while the place of oogenesis is ovary. First of all, we will discuss about the spermatogenesis. In the process of spermatogenesis, it is completed in primary reproductive organ that is known as testes. This figure is already discussed in part first. In the testes, you can see there are 250 to 300 testicular lobules found in the testes, and in each testicular lobule there is at least 2 to 3 seminiferous tubules are present. These are the basically tube-like structures, very fine, and in each seminiferous tubule spermatogenesis is completed. It has a very typical structure. And one more thing I would like to recall you, this is the part of practical examination also. A permanent slide will be given to you and you need to identify and write some important comments on it. So, dear students, first you can see spermatogenesis. Sperma means male gametes and genesis means to produce. We will draw the figure of seminiferous tubule here, which is the place where spermatogenesis is carried out. This is the figure of single seminiferous tubule which is surrounded by other tubules. If we draw the detailed ultrastructure of the seminiferous tubule, then it will look like this. So, dear students, these are the testicular lobules that has 2 to 3 seminiferous tubules in it, while this is one complete transverse section of the seminiferous tubule and it is the ultrastructure of seminiferous tubule. In the seminiferous tubule, you can see the basal membrane that possesses as germinal epithelium, and the cells of the germinal epithelium is known as spermatogonium, and each spermatogonium shows repeated mitosis to produce lot of spermatogonia in the seminiferous tubule. These spermatogonia are diploid in nature because it has a complete set of chromosome in it, and it is shown by 2n, means diploid. At the time of puberty, when boys grew up to the age of 13 to 14-year-old, then they show the spermatogenesis, and initially spermatogonia will show the mitosis first. With the help of mitosis first, primary spermatocytes are prepared, and it will further show the meiotic divisions, and these meiotic divisions will show the complete spermatogenesis, which will be discussed in the next part of this video. So, dear students, I would like to recall you again, the transverse section of seminiferous tubule is the part of practical examination. So, carefully see this picture and try to draw this picture at home again and again. After the introduction of gametogenesis, in the process of spermatogenesis, you can see spermatogenesis is the formation of sperm from the germ cell in the testis, is called spermatogenesis. The term here, germ cell, means spermatogonia. The process begins at the puberty. In the boys, puberty starts in between the 13 to 14 year age, and spermatogenesis is started. Spermatogonia presents the lining of seminiferous tubules undergo mitotic division to increase their number. In the seminiferous tubule, germinal epithelium is given, and that has the spermatogonia in it, but it requires lot of number of spermatogonia, so these cells undergo mitotic division to increase their number. Each spermatogonium is diploid in nature, that contains 46 chromosomes, a complete set of chromosomes found in the spermatogonium. Innermost layer of the spermatogonial becomes larger, called primary spermatocyte. As the spermatogonia uptakes nutrients and it becomes larger in size, and its name is changed now, that is primary spermatocyte. That is also diploid in nature. Now it will undergo the meiosis, and after the result of meiosis first, it will form two equal haploid secondary spermatocytes. It means the product of meiosis first is secondary spermatocyte, and it is haploid in nature. It means number of chromosomes are reduced to half. Each secondary spermatocyte undergoes meiosis second to form two equal haploid spermatids, n equals to 23. So dear students, sometimes question can be asked just like this: how many number of chromosomes found in the primary spermatocyte? Then your answer must be 46, because it is diploid in nature, while the number of chromosomes in secondary spermatocyte, then you need to give the answer 23 here. Each primary spermatocyte produces 4 spermatids. It means after the completion of one complete meiosis, 4 spermatids are produced, and these are known as spermatids. Spermatids transformed into spermatozoa or sperms by the process of spermiogenesis, because in this process it will lose the extra cytoplasm from here and extra cell organelles are removed. And after the spermiogenesis, spermatozoa becomes very lighter, thin and motile in nature. The sperm head is embedded in the Sertoli cell. As I have drawn the figure in the previous part, sperms are embedded in the head of the Sertoli cell. Sertoli cells are also known as nurse cells that provide nutrition to the developing sperm. Release of sperm from the seminiferous tubule is called spermiation. It is very important term. You need to recall this. Spermiation is the process in which seminiferous tubule releases the sperm to the next part of the structure. This is the figure 3.5. As I have already drawn this on the whiteboard, you can again see this picture. This basal line, this is known as germinal epithelium, that is made of spermatogonia. It is diploid. After the repeated mitosis, again these cells are produced, and when it will uptake the nutrition, it will become larger in size. You can see the size here, and it is known as primary spermatocyte. This is also diploid in nature. It will undergo the meiosis to produce spermatozoa. One important thing can be seen here. One primary spermatocyte is producing 4 sperms here, 4 spermatozoa here. So a numerical question can be asked here. Suppose I am asking a question, there are 100 spermatozoa are produced, then what will be the number of primary spermatocytes? Then you need to go reverse and divide it by 4. And if the question is given, suppose 10 primary spermatocytes are given, then how many number of spermatozoa will be produced? Then just multiply it by 4. This is the graphical presentation of spermatogenesis. There is one spermatogonium. It is undergoing mitosis, a daughter cell type A spermatogonium, and as a standard we are using single spermatogonium here. This spermatogonium is uptaking the food. It is becoming larger in size, and it is called primary spermatocyte. After the meiosis first, you can see there are 2 cells that is known as secondary spermatocyte. It is haploid and number is 2. And again in the meiosis second, these 2 cells, first and second, these 2 cells will undergo the meiosis second to produce 4 spermatids. And these spermatids shows the differentiation, extra cytoplasm, extra cell organelles are removed, and it converts in the mobile, or you can say motile form of the cell, that is known as 4 sperm cells. So one primary spermatocyte produces 4 sperm cells. This is the figure number 3.8, schematic representation of spermatogenesis. It is taken from your NCERT book. Again, similar thing is given here. Spermatogonia at puberty, it will show the mitosis, repeated mitosis to increase the number of spermatogonia. And in spermatogonia, number of chromosomes are 46 here. Again in the primary spermatocyte, which is not given, but you can remember, number of chromosomes are 46. It will show the first meiotic division to produce 2 cells. These are haploid and it is known as secondary spermatocytes. And after the second meiotic division, spermatids are produced, which are haploid in number but non-motile heavy. After the differentiation, it is forming spermatozoa. Now the question is, spermatogenesis process is controlled by which method? How will the body will control the formation of sperms, or you can say spermatogenesis? Basically, it is under the hormonal control. The process is initiated at the puberty due to secretion of gonadotropins, releasing hormone known as GnRH. So you can see when a boy gets the age 13 to 14-year-old, then its endocrine gland will release, especially hypothalamus will release the GnRH. What is the name of GnRH? Gonadotropins releasing hormone. As the GnRH secreted from hypothalamus, and it will stimulate anterior pituitary to produce two types of hormones. So dear students, first work is started from hypothalamus. It releases GnRH, and that will stimulate the anterior pituitary to produce gonadotropins, and these are two: LH, luteinizing hormone, and follicle stimulating hormone. What is the role of LH? One question is compulsorily asked in the last year question papers in the board. LH acts on Leydig cells. So you can see LH will act on the Leydig cell to produce male sex hormones known as androgens, and one important androgen is testosterone. So dear students, LH is responsible for the release of testosterone hormone at the time of puberty because it acts on Leydig cells. Androgen stimulates spermatogenesis also. So FSH acts on Sertoli cells. So that is the important point. FSH acts on Sertoli cell and stimulates spermatogenesis in other ways by the secretion of ABP, androgen binding protein factor. So this is the hormonal control of spermatogenesis. The responsible hormone, in brief, you can say hypothalamus, that produces GnRH. GnRH will stimulate the anterior pituitary to produce LH and FSH. LH is responsible for the secretion of testosterone. It requires for spermatogenesis, and FSH acts on Sertoli cells to stimulate the ABP, androgen binding protein factor. Now, what is the structure of sperm? It is very typical. An initial introduction can be seen here. Ultrastructure of sperm consists of head, neck, a middle piece, and a tail. So basically it has head, a narrow neck, middle piece. It has lot of number of mitochondria that provides continuous energy at the time of movement of sperm. Whole body of sperm is surrounded by plasma membrane. Prior to this, I would like to ask a question. If anyone asks to you what is sperm, then what will be your answer? Sperm is a cell. Just remind it. Sperm is a cell, and its outermost cover is known as plasma membrane. The sperm head contains an elongated haploid nucleus. It has haploid nucleus because number of chromosomes are 23 only. And in the next part of the nucleus, or you can say in the above of the nucleus, a cape-like structure is present that is known as acrosome. Acrosome is basically made of Golgi bodies. The acrosome contains hydrolytic enzymes like hyaluronidase, which helps in the fertilization of ovum. The middle piece contains mitochondria, which provides energy for the movement of the tail. That facilitates sperm mobility is called Nabhan-Kern sheath. So dear student, I will draw the clear picture on the board. later on. Then I will again show you. Nebenkern sheath is basically the spiral form of a layer which is made of mitochondria. Human male ejaculates 200 to 300 million sperms during coitus. At the time of sexual act, 200 to 300 million sperms are released at the single time. 60% must have normal shape and size. Out of the number of 200 to 300 million cells, or you can say sperms, 60% shows the normal shape and size of the sperm, while on the other hand 40% of them must show vigorous motility, and basically these are responsible for the fertilization because it shows vigorous motility. Sperm releases from seminiferous tubule enter into the accessory ducts like vas efferentia, epididymis, vas deferens, seminal vesicle, and so on. On their way, fluids from seminal vesicle and prostate gland added, which collectively called as semen. So basically, sperm are the cells that floats in the liquid medium, and that is formed by seminal vesicle and prostate gland, and in combined it is known as semen. The function of male accessory ducts and glands are maintained by testicular hormone androgen. It means androgen hormone will also control the functions of accessory ducts. This is the figure given here, that is the structure of a sperm. Typical structure of sperm is given here. I am just drawing this, and it is also important because many times only labeled figure of sperm is asked. In the initial part, you can see this is the head of the sperm that contains acrosome here. In this part, an elongated structure is seen here. This is the nucleus of the sperm. It contains 23 chromosomes, and at the top of the sperm, or you can say in the front part of the head, is acrosome. So this is acrosome, this is nucleus, that is haploid, or you can say N equals to 23 number. This is the neck of the sperm, and it is middle part of the sperm. It has centrosome. This is proximal centriole. That is towards the nucleus, and this is distal centriole, away from the nucleus. Distal centriole produces a 9 double and 2 single arrangement axonema and a specific ring centriole is present in the last part of middle piece. So dear students, this is the typical structure of sperm. Basically it is a thread-like structure that is subdivided in three important parts. The first is head, middle piece and tail. In between the head and middle piece, neck is given and it is made of centrosome. It contains proximal centriole towards the nucleus and distal centriole towards the Nabenkan sheath. In the middle piece of the sperm, distal centriole produces axonema. It shows 9 double and 2 single ultrastructure, which is already taught you in the class 11 in the structure of flagella and cilia. First of all, in the head part, this is the first part of the sperm that contains acrosome and nucleus. Acrosome contains hyaluronidase enzyme, and this enzyme helps at the time of fertilization that penetrate the egg cell. Just behind the acrosome, this blue colored structure is given, that is the nucleus. This nucleus has haploid chromosome only, so number of chromosomes in the nucleus of human sperm is 23. This is neck. It is a narrow part of the sperm, and just behind this middle piece is given distal centriole, axonema, and it is covered by lot of mitochondria. Mitochondria provide continuous energy during the sperm mobility or motility of the sperm. A thin amount, or you can say a few amount of cytoplasma is present in the middle piece, that is known as manchet. At the end of the middle piece, a ring centriole is given. Its description will be studied in the next classes. And the last part of the sperm, that is the tail, it basically helps in the movement of the sperm after coitus. So dear students, today we have finished the spermatogenesis. It is very important part of the chapter that contains TS of seminiferous tubule, that is the part of practical. An important structure, sperm, is given here, so you need to draw it neatly in your homework and remind all the questions, and if you have any problem you can ask me. Thank you very much and have a nice day.